amazing. We had to make sure that everything was working properly here. So obviously I'm not Steve Gill. For those of you who know Steve Gill, I'm Steve Gill 2.0, Paul Cruz. I am one of his direct reports, and I work in our Olympia office. I oversee a lot of different programs for veteran services, veteran services, counseling, and wellness, more specifically on the benefits side. I am the younger version and almost as good looking version of the Steve Gill that we have, and please feel free to tell me that. I don't mind that at all. But today, so the plan is we are going to have a wonderful presentation by Diann and Locke. Did I pronounce that correctly? Thank you so much. Steve sends his apologies. He had an emergency and is not able to make it. He actually had to drive home very early this morning. So he sends his apologies. Once Diann is done, we're just going to kind of have a great group discussion. We're going to ask some of our county service officers or county representatives to introduce themselves, possibly talk about all the good things that they're doing in the county, how their county levy is working in regards to supporting the veterans, and have a good candid conversation. So without further ado, ma'am, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. All right, so good morning, everybody. I am Department of Revenue. See, God, I can't even speak already. I'm Diann Locke with the Department of Revenue, and I work in the property tax section. So I've been at the state level now for 16 years, and prior to me coming to Department of Revenue, I worked at the Lewis County Assessor's Office doing property taxation and levies there for 20 years. So got a little bit of knowledge behind me, and hopefully I can share some of that with you today. And if I can't answer a question that you have today, reach out to me and I can point you in the direction of where to get an answer. So I was asked today to come and talk about the Veterans Assistant Levy as part of the property taxation system. What is this? Well, it's an earmarked fund out of the county general levy. So if you think about the county general levy as one big levy, then there's certain earmarked things that must happen with those monies. It gets divided out into a section of money that goes into what is for veterans assistance. There's a fund for mental health, a fund for disabled persons, and then the rest of the money goes into what you may have heard about the current expense fund, and that's where basically all other expenses come out of. But today we're going to talk about veterans. So the Veterans Assistance Levy is levied against all the real and personal property taxable value in each county. That money then is set aside for veterans' needs. So how much is the Veterans Assistant Levy? Well, my probably most known answer for anything in the property tax world is it depends. It depends on so many individual circumstances of what the levy could be. Our statute says the levy rate must be at least 1 1/8 cents per $1,000 assessed value, but it can't be more than 27 cents per $1,000 assessed value. Well, that seems clear cut on the face of it, but then as you continue on reading in the statutes, there's that however clause. And so if under certain circumstances, if the county's Veterans Assistance Fund has sufficient funds on the first Tuesday in September that would equal what the minimum levy rate multiplied by the current year's taxable value is, if that money is already in the fund, you no longer have to, the county legislative authority no longer has to levy the full 1 1/8 cents. And in fact, they don't have to levy anything because they've got supposedly enough funds to cover their needs. So the county general levy is limited to a 1% growth each year, plus a few additional increases due to new construction is the most common type of an increase they get in addition to the 1%. And we refer to that in the levy world as add-ons. So that happens every year, and this is what we call a budget-based property tax system. And so it limits the growth to 1% over their highest lawful levy since 1985. And by doing it this way, there's no big swings in revenue that comes into the county as assessed values increase, and there's no swing when the values decrease. It keeps the property tax amount pretty stable, at 1% growth plus other allowable increases. The Veterans Assistant Levy, though, on the other hand, is a rate-based levy. That minimum 1 1/8 cent rate multiplied a significantly higher market value when the market is doing well, like it has been, is going to generate quite a bit more money because maybe taxable values increased by 10%. So that Veterans Assistant Levy is going to see a 10% increase rather than the 1% as the county general levy. So I brought a few facts here. Is anybody here from Grant? I'm not picking on you if you are from Grant. It's just, I just got some things that maybe you guys can relate directly to. So in Grant County, for the 2022 and 2023 tax year, the county legislative authority made the decision to levy the minimum 1 1/8 cent levy rate. The taxable value in Grant County increased 10.4161%. So that means because the Veterans Assistant Levy rate stayed the same at 1 1/8 cents, the total levy amount increased by that little more than 10%. Where on the other hand, that county general levy, what I said was like the big umbrella that covers everything, they were limited to the 1% growth plus other allowable increases, and that net increase for the county general levy ended up only being 2.46%. So in this example, you can see more funds were taken out of the county general levy and earmarked for veterans assistance. So how are these funds used? You guys probably know better than I know on how these are used. It's kind of outside of my expertise in Title 84, or Title 84. But looking at the statutes, it says they're used to provide assistance to indigent veterans and their spouses. Specifically, funds are used for veterans assistance that can be used for burial or cremation of any deceased indigent veteran or deceased family member. Looking at some of the county's websites, I see that it's used for way more than that. So I found information in there where they're using the funds to help veterans with food, rent, medical expenses, and utility bills. So it's money that's well used. And as a personal note, it took me quite a while to figure this out, but I didn't know it at the time. My father, when he passed away in the late 80s, the veterans paid for his casket and his burial. So my family is a recipient of this. But at the time I had no idea that that's where the money came from. And I wonder even now if my mother even knew that. I don't know how we came about knowing this was a service offered to us, but I'm assuming it's people like you that are out there that somehow found us. So thank you for that. So now the nerd side of me comes flying out with numbers. So let's look to see what's happened across the state with the 2023 tax year. So this is a list of the counties that have levied property tax for veterans assistant at the 1 1/8 cent rate. So you can see here there's 17 counties doing this. There's a wide range of levy amounts being collected from the property taxpayers, depending upon the assessed value in each individual county. And you've got Ponderay that has $2 billion worth of taxable value, but they're only generating $24,000 for veterans assistance. Where in Thurston County, they've got like approximately $59 billion worth of value, and they're generating $673,000 with that same levy rate. I see people are taking pictures, so we'll move on then to the next slide. So here's a list of the 13 counties that are levying less than the minimum rate. As you can see at the top of the list, we've got Garfield and Island County that didn't levy any property taxes earmarked for veterans assistance. And then the remaining counties levied less than what the minimum rate would allow. So once again, there's a few reasons for this. If that fund balance on the first Tuesday of September met a minimum standard, that meant they already had enough money, supposedly, to meet their veterans' needs. So they could elect to take less. Another reason that these rates could be less is if the total county budget for the current year is less than last year, which is probably unlikely, the percentage of reduction of that could be applied to the Veterans Assistant Levy and be reduced in that same amount. And finally, our last 9 counties, these counties all have levy rates greater than the minimum 1 1/8 cents. You can see there's Skamania has the highest rate across the state at 3.5 cents. So this is way below the maximum rate of 27 cents. So nobody's even close to that. So we're going to keep in mind Skamania in a future slide. I'm going to reference that. So we're going to keep in mind that they levied $86,287. So legislation. I was given a hint that this may be a hot topic, so if anybody's got questions, interrupt me, please.
I have a question.
Oh, a question already, yes.
You mentioned Skamania having the highest amount, they don't have a PSO. We actually.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
We're actually putting the PSO. I know, I'm just saying, when they made these decisions, they didn't have a PSO. They're providing these services to veterans, but yet they're levying money to help veterans with no.
Well, you don't need a BSO just to veterans relief.
And oftentimes what happens is that the veterans relief, when you don't have a BSO, is the solution that you have to turn to, so it becomes more of what happens because you don't have a BSO, you don't have veterans that are coming to you for services and getting other services, so they come to the county and the county sort of takes care of them in the ways that it can, and then sees that they need to do so, so they raise more funds for it, but it's sort of a stopgap or an inefficient method in that way. But it does mean that they're working to support veterans in that way by making sure they have the funds to do so.
Yeah, and I'll kind of hit a little more on this topic of how you can influence your county legislative authority on what your needs are in your county and how they can be met. But for now, let's turn our attention to legislation bills that were introduced this year. As usual, we've always got a couple of bills out there about veterans assistance in the property tax world, and this year was no change. There were 2. House Bill 1022 is very similar to the bills that have been introduced in the past, and what this bill would have done is allow the county commissioners to make the decision to either keep the Veterans Assistant Levy as an earmarked fund under that umbrella of their county general levy, or they could take it out of the county general levy and levy it on its own. The other bill that was out this year, which was new twist on it, that was a very unusual twist on it, House Bill 1703. This bill said that when the county legislative authority would levy their property taxes. They would earmark a certain amount for veterans assistance. But then when they start collecting their property taxes, and they have to return property taxes to the state of Washington for our state school basic education levy, the amount of funds that each individual county levied for veterans assistance would be deducted from what they return to the state of Washington for the state school levy. So thinking back to Skamania there that had $86,287 for their veterans levy. Let's say the state of Washington said, okay, Skamania, for your county, you need to collect and remit to us $8,086,287. Instead of remitting that full $8,086,287, they would deduct that earmarked levy amount for veterans and only send the school $8 million. So basically, it's kind of backfeeding it. You levied it, but then they're going to get the money back, and that didn't make it very far in legislation. So I saw a gentleman over here go, yeah, let's get this as a separate levy.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah.
There's going to be some pros and there's going to be some cons. So you want to make sure you're aware of these pros and cons and make your concerns aware to your county legislative authority. So once again, sorry Grant, I'm not really picking on you. I had to pick somebody. And your county that has consistently levied the straight 1 1/8 cent levy rate. So my top box there shows 2021, 2022, and 2023 levy rates, 1 1/8 cents. Then it shows the amount that was levied each year based on that rate. For when you compare 2021 to 2022, it took an increase of a little more than 16,000. So that meant we had like a 16% increase. So that means property tax assessed values in that county for that year increased 16%. Then in 2023, rates stayed the same. Values didn't grow quite as much as they did in the prior year, but it still gave the Veterans Assistant Levy a little more than a 10% increase in their levy amount. But remember, county general levy was limited to 1%. So it's a bigger piece of the pie coming out of the county general levy. So second part of my slide is like a what if. So what if the county had decided to make this a separate levy? What could it have looked like? So the way the property tax system works is a regular levy is limited to a 1% growth over their highest lawful levy since 1985. One of the things that has not been very clear to us at Department of Revenue yet is all of these bills wanting the levy to have the option of being outside of the county general. We haven't been 100% sure where the beginning threshold starts for this separate levy. Would it be the maximum 27 cents that the levy could have levied? Or would they start it out at, what did you levy last year? So my example here is starting it out, what did they levy last year? So they levied there in 2022, $175,755. So I increased that here on this line. See, it's low enough now I can reach it. By 101%. Then the next two lines, well, don't have to, and it also turns it off.
Also turns it off, yes.
That wasn't so good. So then the next two lines is what I refer to as those additional revenues added above the 1% growth. So the more common increases are for any type of new construction that has occurred within the taxing district in the prior year. It's multiplied by the district's prior year's levy rate. That's that add-on money. Then the second most common is increase in value for state assessed utilities. State assessed utilities is anything that crosses county lines. The state of Revenue, or the Department of Revenue, we value that property, and then we tell the county assessor what portion of that value is coming from their county. And any increase in value gets additional money. So here in this case, if the county commissioners authorized the 1% above last year's rate, plus the bonus, would have gave you a total levy of $180,000. Levy rate of just a smidgen more than a penny. That only represents a 2.48% change instead of that 10.4. So when you're working with your legislatures, you want to make sure that if you want more, you want that full 10%, that the law is written in a way to allow you to do that. Because it could be good, it could not be as good as you hoped. So kind of looking at the big picture of all this, how will this affect all the players in the property tax system? So if you're a taxpayer, like I'm assuming all of us are, it's a new tax to us if it's a separate levy. That $180,000 is above and beyond what we have been paying. So that's more money from us. Could also mean more services too. To the county general levy, they're going to say, ka-ching, I didn't have to give $194,000 away. They're going to love it. To the veterans, if you're limited to that 1% growth, then that's going to mean not as much funds may be available. So you're going to want to work with your county legislative authorities and advocate for something greater than a 1% growth if and when it ever really passes law and becomes an option of being outside of the county general levy. Yes?
Who would set the rate on what is that something that the Veteran Association can set at, say, not 2.7, but somewhere above 1 1/8?
Okay. So the question is who would set the rate? If this was a separate levy, who will set the rate at that? So what is going to be determined is by your county legislative authority. They'll have the final decision on how much that you'll be able to increase the levy. And then at this point, the separate levy is no longer treated as a rate-based levy, so it will be subject to all these limitations, and the county assessor will actually determine the final rate. So a lot of numbers, sorry for all that, but if you're like me, I kind of like numbers. I need to see it. I need to see a picture to understand. So kind of to circle back on one of the themes that I believe your conference is today and yesterday is on connections. I cannot say it strongly enough to you. Get to know your county assessors. They have a wealth of information about what's happening in the county for values, what could happen to the veterans levy. Get to know your county legislative authority. You need them on your side to convince them to give you more money if that's what you need. You need to talk to your state legislatures so that they understand your needs at each county level. And Department of Revenue, we're a wonderful source to talk to about laws, what's happening over the state. So you'll have my name and contact information at the end of the slide. But connections to all these entities are amazing. You've got a lot of good, hardworking people at your county assessor staff that are there to help you. So also on then connections, And I still can't believe I put this in the slide, because this is so outside of my expertise. But I wanted to give you just a smidge of information about the property tax exemption that's available to Washington state taxpayers. So as it says here on the slide, if you're 61 years of age or older, you're retired from gainful employment due to a disability, or you're a veteran of the armed services of the United States and receive compensation based on your disability, you may qualify for property tax exemption. There are 3 different levels of property tax exemption depending upon your gross income. And at threshold 3, which is the highest income, threshold is set at $40,000 disposable income. But then there are adjustments that can be made to that $40,000 based on the median household income of your county. And currently there's 13 counties that have a threshold greater than $40,000. King County, for example, has a threshold of $58,423. Clark and Snohomish are somewhere over $50,000, but they weren't up to the 58. And then Benton, Chelan, Franklin, Kittitas, Pierce, Skagit, Thurston, and Whatcom, they all have thresholds between $40,000 and $49,000. So if I didn't list your county in any of that, then your income threshold is at $40,000. But this is good to know. This is where contacting your county assessor will be a great help. And possibly you could be exempt from either all of your voter-approved levies, such as local school district levies. And depending upon where the income falls in this threshold, you may be also exempt from part or all of the regular levies. And there's my contact information. So if you have any burning questions afterwards, feel free to reach out to me. That's my spiel. So any questions for me at this time? In the back. Oh.
So just to kind of reiterate, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but you're saying the assessor and the county commissioners would be kind of the forces to go against to ensure that if we get a standalone levy, that it is used appropriately and to the extent that would match our normal gain. Those would be like kind of the end determining factors. Because I got one commissioner telling me, yeah, if you get it passed, no problem. You can match it to where it's at now, not an issue. But then, you know, from what it doesn't seem as easy what I'm looking at, you know what I mean?
So the question is who should you contact if this becomes a standalone levy to make sure that most resources are made available to the veterans? And I've been previously said your county legislative authority and assessor, and it is absolutely your county legislative authority. They're the ones in charge of making the decision on the budgets, and they make the decision on how much to levy. So they've got the power.
Thank you for the reassurance.
You're welcome. Yes.
Right at the beginning, you said there's a decision point on something like the first Tuesday of September, where if a certain balance exists, then counties can choose to levy less than the required amount. What's that balance and who determines it?
Okay, so the question is, what's all this talk that I'm saying about the Veterans Assistance Fund balance on the first Tuesday in September? So number one, what is it? The county would take their taxable value for the current year, multiply that by 1 8 cents. Let's say it's $10,000. If the fund balance is $11,000, you've got more in your fund right now than what you're going to collect in the future. So that gives the county legislative authority the option of levying less or levying nothing. Who decides it is going to be your county auditor, would be the one that has the fund balance to know what that is. So I'm going to assume, once again, your county legislative authority and your county auditor are going to work hand in hand on that. Yes?
If there's rollover on that, is there laws or rules about what happens with that rollover?
So the question is if there's rollover. Is there laws and rules on how you use that rollover? I'm unfortunately not your connection for that one. I do not know.
Okay.
Yes?
Well, I think one of the biggest problems is our veteran service officer are convinced if they don't keep it in reserve, they won't get any, and an option, if they burn the budget down to next to zero, then they'll at least get the 1/8 the next year. So it's kind of, I know you're trying to be conservative, but in
Yeah.
reality, you're cutting your own throat.
Yeah, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Yep, I would have to agree with you. Yes?
So what can we do if the numbers that you're providing, and I remember the same numbers as last year, if they're far more than what we're actually getting by the minimum amount and by what you're saying for Yakima is 1 1/8, but I'm only getting an X amount of number for the last couple of years, it's been the same, and it's not what?
So the question is, in Yakima County, you're not receiving this
Right, I've been
$310,000?
getting 265 for the last few years.
So the statement said instead of receiving 310, they're getting 265. That doesn't make much sense to me.
Right.
There's approximately 2% of the property taxes levied that are not paid. I think that's a lot more of a difference
Right.
than
And
2%.
actually been paid out to me so far this year, and I'm familiar with the numbers because I'm doing part of the budgeting right now. Is 176 paid out so far this year.
So 176,000 is what's been paid out to Yakima County so far for this year. So got to keep in mind too, property taxes can be paid in 2 yearly installments. So will you get the additional 176,000 in October?
Well, I'm hoping so, but we'll see when it comes during that time. But from what I'm projected to receive is 265, and that's the same as last year also. And it's kind of fishy because I know property taxes have gone up.
Check into that.
But
Yeah.
I just,
And all of this information that I provided to you on the slides is what your county assessor has provided to Department of Revenue that was certified to them to levy. So if you're not getting that, I'd be going to your county legislative authority and saying, what's up?
For all that we're joking, guys,
Right.
this is actually sort of the thing, like, you really do want to pay attention and keep an eye on it, because it is something that does happen, where if the budget that you're seeing is continuous and it's staying the same and it just keeps staying the same, that is odd. It's not really how that works from a county levy standpoint typically, and while that may be what you've been told, and that may be what has happened, that isn't actually how it works. So you might make those connections that Diann has talked about and asking those questions and getting those real numbers inside your county and outside your county can be very significant.
Wholeheartedly agree, thank you.
one last thing, these numbers here, just so I'm clear, are the numbers that we're supposed to receive for that Veteran Assistance Fund this year, correct?
That is my understanding. This is what the county assessor has told us that they certified in their tax roll to your county treasurer to collect from taxpayers. So that should be 310,000, should be coming your way.
I got a Excel form right now, right?
So you need to find your county legislative authority and have a conversation with them. So if that's it, I'll hand it, oh, one more?
Hey, sorry to circle around back to the first Tuesday in September
Yeah.
again, but one more question on that. You said that is a decision point where the county legislative authority may choose to set a lower rate. And does that mean they may choose to set a higher rate if they want? So if we have a friendly county legislative authority and we still have a surplus, can they choose to do 1 1/8 or more?
They absolutely can. So just to refresh the question is, if that fund balance exceeds what 1 1/8 cents would levy for that year, the county legislative authority has the option of levying less, but the option is still open to levy the full minimum, or they can levy more. They are not locked into one or the other. Oh, and in the back.
Yeah, that would go to verify that the exemption is pretty flat probably.
So the question is, who would a veteran go to make sure a exemption is applied correctly for the property tax exemption? That would be your county assessor. All right, that's it then. Thank you ever so much for your time. And I'll hand it back over to you.
Right, thank you. So, a lot of great information, a lot of numbers. I've learned quite a bit today. I've learned that if you try to do math too hard in your head, smoke will come out your ears. I don't have enough fingers and toes to do this. So thank you so much for your diligence. That's amazing. A lot of great information. So at this point, instead, we'd like to kind of open it up to everybody here and get a feel of where you are, who you are, where you come from, what your experience is with the county levies, what county you're from. So we're just going to pass the microphone around, and if you could all just give a quick 1 to 2 minute introduction and talk about your experience in your particular county of how your county Veterans Assistance Fund is working. And if you're not here because of that and you're here as a individual who wants to learn more about it, what did you learn from this particular panel, or not panel, excuse me, but information session, so that we can get great feedback, improve upon what we're doing for next year. But again, most of the information and the improvements that we have done over the years have come from the audience and have come from your participation. So I will start off with the gentleman up here, if you don't mind, sir, just because you're handsome. It's a beard. It is.
I am not with the county. I actually work with Veterans Health Administration. But this is nice getting an idea of how it works, the structure of the levies. Okay, sorry. Just getting an idea of how the structure of the levy works was nice. Because I don't get to see that myself.
Awesome. Good. Thank you.
So I'm Bob Getty, and I've been on the assistance board since Governor Gregoire first set it up. And it's been a common thing of who your legislators are is how you're treated. And if you have a county lead person, then they think they can convince the legislatures that you don't need the money. If you don't spend it and you're holding in reserve because you're afraid you're not going to get in next year, it creates a bigger problem. One thing I did learn that my disability maybe get me out of some property taxes, so that's a nice idea. The things too is the evaluations are never going to go down on your property. We've went up and up and up in Chelan County. It's getting crazy with Microsoft coming and building server farms at $6 billion additional value. So I'm not sure where you play the game on new taxes, but I appreciate the conversation, and I think a lot of them need to understand that you really have to sweet talk your legislators.
I'm Chris Diaz, Skagit County's Veteran Service Specialist and VSO. I stay in touch with our director and our executive director on these things. I watch, I get the paperwork from just like anybody else. You can get it publicly. And anyways, some of the things that Skagit County is doing, I've said we've added a Vet Corps Navigator. Couldn't do that without WDVA's programs. We're suicide prevention. Richard LaFlager, he'll be hanging out with us up there as well, and hopefully we'll get another service officer soon and work out around the counties that we have up there. But some of the things that we're working on is veterans transportation in Skagit County, getting to medical. VAF fund can help with that. we have an excessive amount of funds because of the COVID and all that stuff, so we're gonna be working with that. That's in work. And then with local library at Mount Vernon, there's a new Commons library that's being built. Right now, we put a program together where veterans can get up to 500 pages printed free at the library, or put it on a thumb drive that the Elks donated. So a lot of local resources. So we've already been using that, and hopefully we're gonna duplicate that throughout the whole county so we can give veterans and their families an opportunity. Because as a service officer, remember they all get discs now. It was microfiche, now it's compact discs, but everybody else is streaming, they're way behind at the VA. But anyways, the support the WDVA has given Skagit County has been huge. We've moved, I think, 21 plus veterans into housing in Skagit County. Some of them off the streets. They've been on the streets 10 to 15 years. They're now thriving in our local new places that have been built. And then we have services that are coming in to be the gap fillers while we're waiting for the bureaucracy of paperwork from the VA, from the county, from the state level, all that stuff. So things are starting to move in Skagit County, which is great. All three tribes, we have Swinomish, Upper Skagit, and Samish. My kids are Samish tribal members. I just got an email from them saying, hey, we want you to come in and start doing some services for our veterans there. I just got done helping a DIC over in Swinomish and Upper Skagit. It's like, hey, come up here anytime you need. We'd like to have your services up here as well. So that was a little bit of a barrier to get into, but we built a trust tree, so I'll get to go up there quite a bit now. And then one last thing, county got a grant to, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Hamilton, which is very East County. Congressman Larson's very interested in that area as well. They're gonna refurbish this community building, put free Wi-Fi in it, and I'll start traveling to Hamilton to meet veterans where they're at. Not just concrete, but I'll be in Hamilton. I already go to Anacortes. I've been called by Skagit Regional Health to meet veterans while they're in the hospital. Peace Health, they've called me as well. But all right, that's my 1 or 2 minutes.
Hi, I'm Tom Hicks. I'm a county VSO for Stevens, Lincoln, Ferry, and Monterey. One of the two. Liz is back there. She's the other one. I'm in this class because I'm also the chair of our advisory board now, and I'm trying to get enough information to be dangerous. So, yeah,
I like it.
That's why I'm here.
I'd use a calculator though.
Yeah. You'll get an email from me.
No problem.
Hi, my name is Laura Wood, and I'm the interim administrator at Employment Security Department in Moses Lake. And so I supervise the veterans program in our office, and so I'm here just to learn all the services that we can offer to our veterans. Thank you.
I'm Eileen Boylston. I'm also with WorkSource. I'm the vet rep there, but I'm also on the Grant County Veterans Advisory Board, and we do review those reports every time we meet. We look where the money's been spent. We do have input, and we can recommend to the commissioners if we feel there should be changes. So every year when the budget's coming out, we look at the budget, we look at what they're proposing, and we're able to provide input on that.
Great.
I'm Dave Sturgill from the Kittitas County Veterans Coalition, and volunteers from various veterans groups have been administering the relief fund since the law first came into effect. It's a crazy mishmash of policies and very frustrating, and fortunately we have good news this year. We're hiring a county VSO, and we're going to turn over the Veteran Relief Fund to a professional fiscal analyst at our public health department. So I'm just delighted that all those dumb carbon paper forms from the 90s will get burned, I hope. So in a big way, I'm the past, and Katie over here is our genius, and she's the future of our Veterans Relief Fund. So we're thrilled to see what she's going to do.
I'm Weston Ruland. I'm a vet corps navigator, and I'm moving from Stevens County over to Grant County, and I will assist the VSO there in every way I can. And this, for me, is just knowledge.
Katie, I'm the accountant at the Public Health Department in Kittitas County. We just recently hired our very first VSO. He will start in September. We're also going to be hiring a state VSO that will be coming in full-time to work at our department. We have absorbed the Veterans administration of the funds was originally done by all volunteers, so now it's been absorbed by the Public Health Department. It'll be overseen by us. We're directly in the county government, so we have direct lines to our county commissioners, the assessor, the auditor. So it'll be really nice to get a hold of the funds, make sure they're being distributed and staying within a budget and getting everything kind of really set and on track.
Hi, I'm Becky Burai. I am the Veteran Service Officer for Whitman County. I am brand spanking new, so I have attached myself like a parasite to Spokane, which has been wonderful. Though a really different animal than Whitman County. And I worked on claims initially as my main thing that I need to master before I kind of open these other doors to VRF and that sort of thing. But I am super apprehensive about opening this door. I've heard some really good rumors, and I've also heard some kind of dangerous ones. I've had a couple calls, hey, you fixed my car last year, I'm ready for my annual maintenance. And I've heard somebody has a really nice brand new roof. So anyway, I'm apprehensive about opening this door, but Spokane has been amazing to help me navigate. So thank you for your program.
Brad Condon, Spokane County, VSO. We service most of eastern Washington counties as well. With our levy and what we do there, we've been able to hire 6 veteran service officers over the years and help provide services and benefits and connections for veterans in those areas. It's helped bring down homelessness in our area where everything else is kind of going up. So veterans homelessness is on the decrease for us. We also have the Veteran Relief Fund, which one-time use usually for good outcomes for the veterans to help them through a hard time, especially since with COVID, weren't paying rents or utilities, stuff like that, to help them get back on track. So that, with the adjustments and everything there. So we've been very fortunate in our county to be able to do that. We've got Fairchild there, so very veteran-oriented area. We do the best we can to try to help serve those other areas too. We work with Tom and Becky, training and just trying to keep everybody on the same page. We do a lot of claims for the state, and it helps out those areas when those benefit dollars come into there. It's a huge return on the money that actually is there. It's tax-free to your veterans, and then they can spend that to help take care of their lives and improve it. That's kind of where we've focused our energy, is that long-term change for them.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Bauk. I'm a staff assistant at Spokane County, and I view my job as triage for the VSOs and the VRF. So this is the Veteran Relief Fund portion, but I think we have a good relationship with our county commissioners, the budget, and our operation manager manages that very well. So when I see a veteran, they come in with utility assistance they might need, or they have a pay vacate, and I also try to triage their services. So it's super helpful to have VSOs that can do claims in conjunction with VRF, so we can have the positive long-term outcome if they are able to file a claim or have a claimable condition. So I appreciate the support that we have, and that we can also partnership with Becky.
Hello, I'm Charlie. I'm at Spokane County as a work study. I do also a lot of the triage between claims, the VRF process, the preponderance of folks, veterans that show up asking for cash and have actually never filed a claim before. So we try to help them out with the long-term services there. Also process their applications. It's a case-by-case basis with Spokane County, but try to hook them up with the right service per their application to see where we can best meet their needs.
Hey there, I'm Shay. I am with Thurston County's Veterans Assistance Program. Something that my supervisor and I, Lonnie Milam, are really trying to do right now. We're trying to push for education and outreach, so just getting the word out that these funds are here, that it could be, well used in supporting veterans rather than sitting in a bank account. We are also trying to push for other Veterans Assistance Program networking. So we've been trying to get some Zoom or Teams meetings going. We've had one. There were, I think, 7 to 10 counties that were able to make it for the first one. So if you are interested and would like more information be included, I would love to get your contact information. And also, as far as the program goes, currently we help with things like rent, utilities, the basic stuff. We are really trying to expand because we're seeing a lot of needs not being met. So some of the things we're trying to push for is like childcare, and some of those other things that, once upon a time, internet was not considered a utility, but it really is now. So we're trying to be able to support our veterans and their families with some of those other miscellaneous items.
Hello, I'm Ken Johnson with King County Veterans Program. We're one of those counties that does have a additional levy for funding, which is very beneficial because we're allowed to do a lot of things and we don't have a lot of insurance that a lot of other counties have. We provide eviction prevention, housing, help with housing, emergency funds like utilities. We're like very big in connecting with a lot of our community partners that come on site, as far as like Catholic Community Services, STWS. They help veterans just find housing. We also have a wellness fund, and the wellness fund is $5,000 per veteran. We help a lot with dental work for a lot of veterans who've been out on the streets for a long time, or glasses, or help with medical expenses that they don't have out of pocket. Our motto is that we try to find the yes, right? Understanding that each veteran has unique situations. We try to find a way to help them through their hardship. So, I'm like everybody else here, making connections, because we have to do this as a community, so.
All right, I'm Gene Solchen from DSHS, and I work with the soldiers that are transitioning out of JBLM. So I work with them as far as whatever resources or whatever things they need. So it's good for me to come here to network, to know all the other services that they can have. And I also work in Lakewood. The Lakewood Town Center is where my main office is at. So I work with the veterans that's coming through there, because we get a lot of Vietnam vets and things like that that don't know the services that they can also get as well. So I help with that side as well, and that's basically it. Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Christopher Osuna-Pritchard, Clallam County Veteran Service Officer. I work closely with our Veterans Resource, manager? Coordinator, there we go, that's what he does. I learned that we need to stay vigilant with the numbers, I guess. I don't know, that's the most applause I've ever heard for an accountant, so.
I apply mine all the time.
Hi everyone, my name is Levi Douglas. I'm out in Clallam County with Chris next to me. We work hand in hand very efficiently. I'm more of a local resource guy, so I would be disseminating the Veterans Relief Fund, running it through our Clallam County Veterans Association. They usually come and start with me or Chris, but they always end up seeing both of us, so we can kind of cover down as much as we can. We also have about 5 nonprofits out there that do a lot of great work for housing. Then we have SSVF as well. We just lost our representative, so if anyone wants a job out there, I might be able to refer you. So we give away free clothes, food, hygiene products to everyone who comes through. Proof of service is not required the first time, just like to give the benefit of the doubt, build trust. We just got all veterans free transportation on the buses as well in our county.
So yeah, and thank you. I always really enjoy this briefing about the levy, so I'll have more questions later.
Hello, I'm Eric Lawler. I'm VFW VSO down in Yakima County. I do travel to Kittitas a couple times a month. I'm just here to learn about the levy and what tools there are out there to increase my knowledge base to help veterans.
My name is Tucker Flood. I'm the Claims Quality Assurance Manager at WDVA. I work in operational support, development, and assistance for the veteran service officers across Washington State, both in WDVA as well as our tribal partners, our county partners, and the nonprofit groups that we work with. So thank all of you for being here. Thank all of you whose arms I twisted to be here, because I really work to make sure that all of the county veteran service officers understand how important it is to be here in this meeting, particularly understanding their county levies, because it is a tremendous resource for you. It is your lifeline. You guys manage this and work a lot with it, whether or not you do it directly or whether or not you interact with it through other professionals in your departments. This is your bag. Don't drop it.
Good morning, I'm David Puente. I'm the Director of your Washington State Department of Veterans Affairs, and for me, I'm here to learn and continue to grow. But mainly is just to let you know, we're here as allies and advocates. How can the state agency work with counties, other state agencies, and continue to work? Because I think we're all here for the same reasons, right? We want to connect our veterans to their benefits. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Judy Wells, and I'm with the Washington State Department of Revenue. I'm Diann's counterpart, and I came to hear what you guys had to say and hear all the questions. They're all very interesting, and I learned a lot.
I'm Liz Snell, and I'm the other VSO for Stevens, Lincoln, Ferry, and Pend Oreille counties. Work with Tom. I process a lot of the veteran relief applications, so I came by to kind of learn more about the back end of that.
Hi, I'm Zach Comet, Veteran Services Coordinator at Island County, so I manage the Veteran Assistance Fund. With that, we do rental assistance, food and fuel vouchers, or miscellaneous automotive repair if the vehicle's to get to and from work, or for anything that is good for the veterans' well-being, then they need that. So our goal is really to just arrest any downward spiral and make sure that we prevent them from needing additional services. On the other hand, we try to connect them with more long-term services, such as County VSO, which I'll be moving into shortly, as soon as I finish up the certification. We'll get someone in to replace me as the Veteran Services Coordinator. We work closely with Opportunity Council, who has 2 SSVFs, the Whidbey Veteran Resource Center, and other resources in the area. So heavy referral base. A lot of vouchers being issued. We get as close as we can to spending every dollar that we're given, and put it to good use. So we'll take more if we could. And then claims. I see a lot of benefits in getting people in with the claims too. And the Veteran Services Coordinator with the VAF fund is a good way to get them in the door looking for a resource, and then they realize, oh, there's this resource I haven't tapped into. And then they're kind of set up for success in a sustainable way going forward. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, Heidi Audet. I'm with your Washington State Department of Veterans Affairs. I'm the Communications and Legislative Director. So if you are at all interested in receiving a weekly update during legislative session of where bills are in the process, let me know, and I'd be happy to add your email to our weekly email list. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Laura Jones. I'm VSO with Catholic Community Services in Pierce County and the Supportive Services for Veterans Family section. And I was just here because I thought, oh, property tax information would be good, but I realized it's way over my head. So, but at least I got contact information if I have questions. So thank you.
My name is Lottie Atkins, and I am currently the acting program manager for the Kabul Tribes Tribal Veterans Program Resource Office. I've been working there since about 2008, and one of the goals that we have in our program is to find all the resources available to veterans, both in the VA and in the county and in the state and federal level, wherever we can find. In working with our counties like Okanagan, Berry, Stevens, we know how different each of the assistance funds is, and like I was telling my coworker over here, the program she works in. Anyway, I say that in Okanagan County, our assistance fund put a limit, but they didn't tell us about the limit until it was actually in place, and they didn't say when it was going to start. But what they did was they put a $1,500 limit from the time you started using that assistance funds, which went back to maybe when they got out of the service. So we had, and the reason I found out is because I had a veteran who used to get his Thanksgiving and Christmas food money from there every year. And one year he happened to go over there and they told him, no, you're over the limit now. And he drawed I think about $100 out of that fund every year for his Christmas and that's how he got his Christmas and Thanksgiving, because most of the year he would live on his per capita funds that the tribe gave him to pay off his utilities and other things, so he would make his money stretch. It wasn't like he was abusing it. And we kind of learned that after the fact, and we were kind of really feeling sad because he didn't have a Christmas or he didn't have a Thanksgiving that year. And when we found out that they went in and went back when they first started drawing money, then cut him off at $1,500, but we were not aware or apprised of it. So that's when we kind of learned that we need to talk to that individual more. But the county first had just the board, and then all of a sudden they got a service officer in there. And they had a couple of really good service officers who really worked with the tribe and all of the veterans in the county. Well, and now we have one that doesn't work so well, And so as these people change, we have to work with whatever changes they make. So as a tribe, we have a lot of resources we offer our veterans, and we also look for other places because we know that we all have a limited income up there. They don't have a lot of big, fancy paying jobs. So, like a $12 an hour job, they got to work all year, and the prices are going up, and the pay's not going up. So that's why we look for as many resources to help these veterans and their families, because they used to have an elderly widow when her husband passed away in World War II. That's what she used to do, was go to the Stevens County Veterans Assistance, and every year she would draw to help her with her utility bills. She would at least draw once. And then one day they got a new board in there or something, and they all questioned that. And I thought, what the heck? It's in their minutes, they've seen it before. Why are they questioning her now? She's even older now, and she still tries to work and take care of herself. Once a year, she went to the fund. And I thought, why? Why are you making it harder? I don't know if it's the younger people that's making it harder or their way of thinking or what, but sometimes when you look at the elder veterans, you need to be aware that they're not aware of the changes that are going on out there. So you got to try to educate them. So, so that's why my job is to look for other resources that they can tap into, not just the county funds. But it's kind of sad when the county makes changes and we're not aware of it. So, but we try. So that's a part of my job, and I'm glad to be here and find out this part of the tax about it, because I've always kind of wondered, why and how the tax fund became available and how the county commissioners play into it, because we've talked with a few of them. So I was just telling her, if we got bad county commissioners, we elected them, we can throw them out. So we'll get better ones. Same way with the legislation. So, thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Terry Garcia Hernandez, Consolidated Veterans Service Representative for Chelan, Douglas, and Okanagan counties. And so I work really well with our VSOs from those counties. I do a lot of referrals of our veterans who need relief funds for, you know, a bill. Maybe they need cell phone minutes, maybe they need personal protection equipment, maybe they need, you know, like maybe a certification or maybe some kind of a book for their employment, along with referring them to different organizations like SSVF, any other agencies that provide resources and or services, especially in our rural areas of Okanagan County. So I work really well with the vet service officers, and you know, I hope that we can continue that work. And it's very interesting to find out how they gauge the, you know, property taxes for the Veterans Relief Funds. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Mark Sullivan with your Washington State Department of Veterans Affairs. You know, one of the programs I oversee is our digital navigation program, which is focused on getting greater broadband access and internet connectivity to our veteran households across the state. One of the questions that I had is that if a county wanted to set up a specific levy around broadband access and digital equity, particularly given that a lot of the interest at the county level is across multiple populations, veterans and others, would they need specific statutory authorization to do that, or could they just do it on their own?
Is that something you'd like me to address now?
Yeah, if you can.
So if you're wanting
Microphone,
to
microphone.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's connected to the system, so they won't hear it.
So if you're wanting to see specific funds earmarked for, say, internet purposes, something that would be available to the county legislative authority would be to go to the voters of the county and ask for a levy lid lift. And it would have that specific purpose, so that the money then, however much they felt they needed for that reason, as that became, you know, started getting funneled into the county, that money would be apportioned just for that purpose. So it's something that could be done, but it would require voter approval. Thanks.
Still need a microphone.
Yeah, I'm Mark Janowski. I work for Sullivan County. I've been a part-time VSO for about 3 years now. I think we're on our second year of our WDVA contract. One of the things that recently has come up is, thanks to WDVA, we were awarded a grant for a full-time VSO. So starting September 1st, I had to apply for the position, but I got selected to be the new full-time VSO for Sullivan County. Thank you, WDVA. Most gracious, we really appreciate it. The little bit of veterans relief that we're able to raise, and probably 95% is being used for emergency housing for homeless veterans. With the cost of everything going up, we used to be able to, because you know there is no housing, so we have to rely on that emergency housing, and that means hotels, motels, doing that sort of thing. And it used to be that we could put a veteran up for 30 days for between $600 and $700. Now, a 30-day stay in a local hotel, Motel 6, is pushing $3,000. So when you see the $22,000 a year that we bring in, we really have to be careful about what we spend those monies on, and to really be careful, because we try to keep it for emergency funding. And so it doesn't last long. We've run out probably twice this year already until we get those, the other funding starts coming in for those property taxes. But that's all I'll say, because I brought my elected official with me, my legislative authority, and my county commissioner, so.
I'm Chuck Whitman. I'm one of those nasty elected officials. I'm not a professional politician. Like a lot of you, I'm a career veteran. I was in engineering in the Navy, so you know I'm not politically correct. I before I came on board of commissioners, I stood up and I was the chair of the Veterans Advisory Board there in Zone County for, I don't know, 8 or 9 years until I joined the board. We came a long ways. We have expansion guidelines, we do the rent, utilities, and all that kind of stuff. We don't do food, we don't do car repairs. And because of the high demand there, about 10% of our population are veterans, we put on annual maximum amounts we would spend on rent or utilities, and then lifetime amounts, because I'm sure of all your work with veterans, especially the VAB, you do have a handful of veterans that think you're a social service agency, and it is not. So, but we've come a long ways. That VAB board's very, very active. One of the big things I think that the VAB board and Mark and stuff we led to is that a group took over the VFW down there in Clarkston about two and a half years ago. Saved it from the abyss, and through a lot of community donations and grants and a lot of volunteer work, we did some remodeling, opened a veteran outreach center. The idea was rural communities do not have veteran services. It's not just a South County, but it's a national issue. And so we marshaled local resources to come in and provide services to veterans and families. For example, Washington Department or the WorkSource, the vet reps are twice a month. We have a contractor who does military transition is there weekly. We had SSVF, we lost it for a year and a half and got it back about 6 months ago, Community Action Partnership, and so they're there weekly. We give her a trial by fire.
Yes. She's actually here.
Yeah, she's actually here, super gal picturing. And then we've got assistance from just a lot of those things. We did have counseling available for PTSD for a group session, so Quality Behavioral Health stepped up, and for a very low price. Thank God I'm a friend with the executive director. We were able to provide counseling 2-hour sessions twice a month for these guys. And now I understand that Seabach and Lewiston, they're going to pick it up again. So a lot of local resources there and a lot of support, and so it can be done without veteran services. But again, I want to shout out to the WDVA for not only the VSO contract, but in the last 2 years since we opened the center, we've seen a lot more. In fact, Heidi, you were there about 2 months or so ago. It's a zoo sometimes.
It's beautiful.
People that this is a circus and I'm a ringleader. It really, and we had the digital navigators down there. We only had 2 people sign up that came down there that day, and we had 13, I think is what you saw. Well, at the same time, we had we ran the suicide awareness class, learned 3 times, and that was the 3rd time, and that was going on. It was just total mayhem.
It's a small building.
Yeah, small building. It was great though. It was fun. We've done our thing. I know some of you have seen the suicide awareness coin we came up with. That's been part of what came out of all this. We've distributed over about 5,000 now. I gave away a bunch at the Learn class yesterday. So you can do a lot without VA help. It's there in your communities. And I also work with Catherine Forrest Rogers, Congresswoman Catherine Forrest Rogers. Also, I work nationally I'm a member of the National Association of Counties Veteran and Services Service Members Committee. So there's a lot going on. Nationally, the CVSO Act, nationally, where the feds would actually give money to the counties for VSO, it's designed for rural counties. Now, how do you define a rural county? 100,000, 50,000? That's a good decision. Yeah, anyway, that has not passed yet, but this coming year, the session I've got a lot of support. It's not going to be the big bucks that they were hoping to have a big splash, but again, they're going to get the camel's nose under the tent, and then eventually inside. So there's a lot of hopes this year for the CVSO Act, which is nice because rural counties will have, in addition to possibly state VA systems like WDVA, there'll be another source of money. So I'll shut up now. It's probably enough. Oh, by one last thing. You made a comment about the 1022. When you read through it, you're not really sure on how that starts and stuff. If you never read and followed the legislation these people write in Olympia, they must go to some special school to learn how to do it. Because sometimes you read through and you're scratching your head and saying, what the hell are they saying? It's really bad.
Hi, my name is Jim Cheek. I'm the assistant part-time VSO in Okanagan County. We have a very, very small budget to work with, so there is limitations on how much money we are able to help veterans in need with. And we do have a very good rapport with our county commissioners. You know, I'm only there part-time. Tom, our other full-time VSO, is there. We try real hard to take care of our vets. I'm new at this game. I've been at it a little over a year and a half. So I'm here to learn, and I've learned a lot. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm Mariah Hanley. I am the manager of the Attorney General's Office of Military and Veteran Legal Assistance. We are here to make connections and learn. We would love to connect more with rural counties. We connect veterans with non-criminal legal assistance here in Washington, so pro bono attorneys, self-help information, guides about how to solve their legal problem on their own, as well as helping them connect with other legal resources in their area. So we have a table right out there. We're also doing a legal needs survey right now, so we'd love to hear about what you all are seeing for legal needs in your county, even if you're not specifically saying, hey, what legal needs do you have? You guys are hearing about legal needs, and we want to hear about what you are hearing about. So please feel free to come let us know if you have any questions. We'd love to chat. We'd also love to set up meetings, Zoom meetings or in-person meetings even with your counties to hear about what you're facing and how we can help.
Hello, my name is Ian Anderson. I'm the policy analyst for the Attorney General's Office of Military and Veteran Legal Assistance. I'm Mariah's policy analyst, and I'm here for general information and knowledge about where funding sources are coming from to support veterans in our community. And I'm recognizing a lot of names in here in VSOs, and it's pretty exciting to put faces to names. So I'd love to meet anybody in here. I would love to coordinate with you to see if we can work on, getting referrals to you, you contacting us to see if we can help people. And this is my first time here, and I'm very excited to meet everyone.
Hi, I'm also with the Office of Military and Veteran Legal Assistance. My name is Emma, and I'm the Program Development Vista. I was just here for general information as well, and it was nice to learn about all the new friends I have to make in the county government.
Wow, all these names and all these positions, this is amazing. My name is April Featherkyle. I don't have anything to do with you guys, except that I'm a taxpayer, and I see my taxes go up dramatically, and I was just wondering, where's all this money going to? I hear the veterans are getting anything, but I see veterans on the street, and I go, well, this is ridiculous. What are we doing to help these folks? So I'm glad to hear about the VSOs and the state and the county VSOs. I'm wondering if their salaries, and I'm assuming you're all paid, comes out of this pittance that the counties are giving you. So I'm curious about that. And the Veterans Advisory Boards, you guys are doing a wonderful job. I mean, really, to sit down and interview these folks and help them with their roof, if necessary, and to give them emergency food, money for that kind of stuff, and pay their bills, and this is a wonderful program. So I'm just here for general information and find out what's going on in Chelan County.
I'm Jessica Christensen. I also work for WDVA. I'm an admin assistant for IT, but I love to represent WDVA anywhere I'm at. So any information that I could get, I love to pass along, and I'm just here to learn.
All right, thank you, everyone. A lot of great information. We learned quite a few things. We have some counties that may be going completely cattywampus, and we have some counties that are doing a great job and have a lot of information and services. We've taken up enough of your time. It's actually 12 minutes into lunch, so I'll leave you with this. Look around the room. Remember those faces who you talk to. remember their stories they were telling. I mean, this is the place to learn what other counties are doing. You'll find some great best practices in regards to how people do things and how the counties operate, and you could bring that back to your county to talk to your local representatives to make the change happen. Because yes, they have the authority to do things, but I believe it's all of us that have the power to influence them with the right information so that they can make those hard decisions. So with that, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it. Enjoy your lunch, and you have a wonderful day.